Good day. Welcome to Carnivore News. Today I'm going to talk about an interesting topic, and that is that fat does not make you fat. Eating fat does not make you put on weight necessarily. And this goes against the public misconception that eating fat makes you fat. In fact, if you are on a carnivore diet, it does indeed have the reverse effect. Eating fat actually can make you lose fat. And the way it works is as follows. If you're on a strictly carnivore diet, the satiety mechanisms are different. And the way satiation works in the human is completely different to when you're eating a carbohydrate-based diet. First of all, as you are eating meat, when you are in a so-called hungry state, you don't actually feel really hungry. You kind of have the feeling, well, yeah, I guess I could eat right now, or maybe I might like to eat right now, versus the typical carbohydrate based craving hunger where I kind of have to, I'm starving, I have to eat right now, I can't think of anything else kind of feeling that you have on a typical carbohydrate based diet. On the carnivore based diet, it's more a matter of, yeah, okay, I guess I kind of should eat right now, kind of thing. And then perhaps you're eating a steak and you start eating the steak and tastes really good, actually, especially if you haven't eaten in a while. Steak will taste really good. As you eat more and more of the steak, what's really interesting is your palate actually changes. And the more you eat, the less the steak tastes good. So your satiation somehow is integrated into your taste bud human mind connection mechanism. So the more steak you eat, actually, the less good it tastes, to the point where, you know what, it doesn't taste so good anymore. I don't really feel like eating. Take this in contrast to the carbohydrate diet mechanisms, or when you're eating a high level of glucose and carbohydrates in your diet, where you just eating and eating. You can see when people eat carbohydrates, once you're a carnivore, you notice how fast they're eating this food. It's just like they got to get as much of this food into their bodies as quickly as possible. It's almost like they feel like they're missing something. And in fact, glucose doesn't really hit your satiety centers, in my opinion. It just goes into your body, and people can literally eat more and more glucose. And the only thing that kind of gets them to a feeling of satiation is they're actually filling up their stomachs to such an extent that eventually the stomach mechanisms or receptors inside the stomach and the intestine are basically saying, enough, it's enough food. And that's why once that food is released from the stomach and small intestinal area, suddenly a few hours later, they are hungry again. How come nobody thinks about these things? It's kind of really interesting once you go carnivore and you see the difference in the satiety mechanism, and what is exactly going on becomes more apparent, in my opinion, anyway. So I just wanted to bring up that first misconception about fat in the public eye that eating more fat is somehow going to make you more fat. This is not true. In fact, what I noticed even in the carnivore arena, just eating a carnivore diet, is as you actually put more fat into your diet. And I tried an experiment, or an experiment indirectly occurred on me because I started to actually add more fat into my diet. And what I noticed is the more fat I would add into my diet, the less desire I actually had to eat. Seems that the fat itself has a direct effect on the satiety mechanism of humans. And in fact, the inverse effect to what is predicted in the typical mainstream today. I noticed I had no desire to eat after eating very little fat. And sure, when you're eating fat, there may be a transition period during which your body has to get used to eating more fat. All the enzymes and the bile production and that kind of thing, I guess, have to ramp up to kind of be able to manage eating more fat, especially in the initial stages. But I've noticed over time that this adjusts, but still fat definitely, I think, has an effect on reducing your appetite, which is kind of the wonder drug, if you want to put it that way, for what people are looking for. How do I control the appetite and lose weight, and this kind of thing. It's kind of simple in a way. Just eat more fat. Don't know how to say it any more simply than that. Another thing I just kind of wanted to mention as a parting note, since we're talking about fat, one thing I've noticed as a carnivore, been this way for about a year and 8 months now, is how fat moves around the body really quickly, even during the day. So there's a lot going on in terms of fat metabolism distribution, especially when you're carnivore, you see it much more readily, I believe. I notice when I wake up in the morning, my stomach is almost washboard like, if I can make that analogy. And then literally within 10 to 15 minutes of waking up, the washboard effect is slightly less, and the fat has actually already started redistributing around the body, which I find really interesting. I'd be curious to get any comments on that and people's opinions as to why you're getting so much rapid fast distribution around the body so quickly, and what exactly is going on. I think there's something going on with this fat that is kind of outside the understanding of the current science. Let me put it to that way. So I think that's all for today, folks. Thanks so much for listening to this point, and I hope you guys are finding this interesting. If there's anything else you would like me to talk about, please make comments below. And I always enjoy getting the feedback and any questions you guys might have. So thanks for that. And till the next time.